everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and our weekly look back at the hot comics from 6 months ago. This week we're looking back at the hot comics from January 1st, 2021, and I'm recording this on July 2nd, 2021. So we are into 2021 on our look back list. Both groups did it, both CBSI did their hot top 10 and Comic Tom Key Collector did their hottest trending comics of the week. So we're back to kind of normal this week after we did just one list last week, and then we had the bonus during the week of the 2020 best of look back. So we're back on schedule, back to normal this week. We got 19 books to talk about, so we got a bunch of books to talk about. As always, what we're trying to do here is see what made these books hot 6 months ago and see what they've done since, see what the trends are, see if we can learn a little bit about what books we should chase, what books we should be patient on, and just try to understand the market a little better as we move forward. So, without further ado, let's get into this week's list. There's a lot of covers on this week's list, but we do start with one option news, and that is Department of Truth, #1. And basically, this was not any official option news. This was that there was a open bidding going on to try to get the option rights to Department of Truth. Caused this book to hit the list. $10 for Raw is all at the time, but 9.8s were going for $90, but there was a huge increase in sales that week. Now this is a $30 to $50 book for a raw copy. 9.8 is going for $110 to $150. So this one's been up. My guess is it'll probably continue to trend up. It's been a very popular series. We'll see if it can, maintain as it goes along this kind of popularity that it's had so far. But yeah, I don't know that we ever got official option news of who got the rights. If we did, I never heard it, but I suspect this one hasn't quite hit its ceiling yet and probably will continue to go up at least a little bit, but we'll see. Next, we're going to move into the first of our covers, and we got 7 covers this week to talk about, and the first one is Wolverine #8, the Clayton Crane Blacklight variant. This was actually a pre-order. This book was not out, but it was already going secondary. It sold out pre-order. It was already going on the secondary market for $90 to $150. Now it's a $100 to $200 book. 9.8 will go for $200 to $250. So this one is up. It's a very cool looking book. Clayton Crane does some really good work in this psychedelic blacklight thing. Haven't ever seen a picture of it with the blacklight, but my guess is it's pretty cool. So that one has hit the list, was super popular, and has maintained its popularity. Hasn't really continued to climb, but has stayed in that range. Next, we have Haunted Mansion #6. And this is a Vault of Horror homage cover, which is kind of rare for Disney to do, kind of a dark cover for a Disney cover, and it's pretty hard to find. That's probably why it has thing. Basically, it was raw copies were going for $100 back then. There were a couple of sales. Now, the most recent sales are $40 to $50, which is only just 2 sales in that $40 to $50 range. And there's only a few listed. So this one's pretty hard to find still. It's a down, but I didn't put this as a trap. I put it as an I'll be back just because it's so hard to find. There's only, like I said, only like 4 listings. There's only been 2 sales. So there's not a lot of these out there. It is kind of an odd Disney cover, but pretty cool one that I really enjoy. So next we have Amazing Spider-Man #55. This was that super hot Patrick Gleason cover back in the winter. Basically, raw copies out the gate were going $10 to $25 just for a regular A cover that people were ordering like crazy. Now it's a $20 to $35 book. 9.8s are going for $70 to $100. So this one is up. It's been worth it so far. Not been a huge gainer, but for an A cover, doing really well just 6 months into release. There's been a bunch of variations of this since. There was a second and third print of this one. They've done a Venom one. They've done a Carnage one. They've done Swamp Thing. So there's been a bunch of these kind of Gleason versions using this kind of style. We'll see where it goes, but so far it's been a pretty good book. With that, we're going to move to The Mighty Thor #1, and this one hit the list. Not necessarily for great reasons. This is the Mike Diodato hip-hop variant, and this is basically kind of the homage to the MF Doom album, and yes, MF Doom passed away, and that is why this book hit the list. $40 to $50 back then. Still going $40 to $80, so this one has stayed there, which a lot of these hip-hop variants go for kind of in this range anyway, so this one had been one that had kind of lagged behind, jumped up due to unfortunate circumstances and has stayed kind of in that range with a lot of the other hip-hop variants. Next, we have Avengers number 28. This is the second print of Avengers number 28, and it's kind of got a ghost surfer thing going on here. I don't know if this actually really happened. I think he did get like on the board or something, and then Surfer pulled it away from him. But yeah, kind of a cool ghost surfer cover that people were kind of jumping on. Back then, raw copies were going for $60 of the second print. Now it's a $25 to $30 book. So still really good for a book that was just released last year, but definitely way down from that peak of $60. Definitely wasn't worth that much. So with that, we're going to move into Strange Academy number 6. This is a David Nakayama. I think this is Unknown Comics was the store on this one, but I don't remember for sure. But this is the Virgin variant. There's also a trade dress. Really cool Scarlet Witch cover. He did several of these that were pretty popular, kind of these covers with a solid background of different characters. This one is maybe my favorite. Raw copies back then were going for $60. Now it's a $70 to $100 book for the Virgin. 9.8 will go $140 to $175. So this one's up. Has continued to be a straight cash kind of book so far. We'll see what this cover does long term, but my guess is I would be surprised if this one comes down very much kind of ever. I guess it would probably stay in this range at least. With that, we're to our last cover of the week, and it actually ties to our next book, which is our first Comic Buzz book, and that is Jenny Hex Special number 1, the 1 in 25 Nick Darrington cover. Back then out the gate, this kind of 1 in 25 was going for 40 plus, so not quite double ratio, which typically means falls back to a ratio to slightly above, and that's what this one has done. It's a $20 to $40 book now. 9.8, only one sale, did go for $100. So this is down, and I'll be back. Kind of a cool design, but not her first cover, not her first appearance. But the launch of this release she was getting her own kind of special one-shot, did spark some interest in our next book, which is Batman Giant, the Walmart Giant issues number 4. And this is the first appearance of Jenny Hex, who's the granddaughter, I believe, of Jonah Hex. So this was going for $40, which this is probably pretty condition sensitive, because these were just slapped on Walmart shelves, no bag and board, nothing. So yeah, finding high quality copies of this is probably pretty tough. But yeah, back then it was going for $40. Now it's a $10 to $30 book. So not a lot's been done with this character yet. We'll see if she really becomes that popular. So this has definitely been an I'll be back. But maybe if you can find one for 10, not a bad like little spec play. But we'll see if they ever really use this character in a meaningful way. All right, with that, we're through 9 books. We got 10 books to go, and our next book is Spider-Verse number 1, another Walmart, this in case a Walmart variant instead of like the Walmart exclusive giant issues. This is the first appearance of Spider-Zero and her first cover. And this is, I guess everybody, I don't know if we've ever found out, but the rumor at the time was everybody thought this was Miles Morales' little sister, or at least a version of his little sister. Raw copies back then were going for $15 to $20. 9.8 hit 170. Now it's a $1 to $20 book. 9.8s go 40 to 100, so pretty good range. This has definitely been down, and then I'll be back. All those Spider characters are pretty good specs usually, but there's so many like Spider-Verse characters, it's hard to know what they're going to use and what they're not, other than a few that are pretty obvious. But so we'll see if this is decent. But if you can find this for, cover price, then you're, the $5 kind of range, then you're doing pretty good. But some of these are actually selling in that range now. Next, we have our last kind of comic buzz of the week, and that is Icon number 1. This first appearance of Icon at Rocket. Now, this hit a few weeks ago, the list, because it was kind of a preview. It also contains a preview for Static before his actual first appearance. But this time it was hitting the list because there was kind of an announcement of a potential Icon, that Icon was going to get a series again. Static's getting his own book now, and I think Icon, I don't know, I think it's still coming, that we're getting an Icon book. And then also that maybe there were some movie rumors, so it was kind of a twofold thing that got this to kind of hit the list on its own merits. still, raw copies were still going $20, but it was a big jump in sales again. Still going 10 to 40, so a few sales even higher in high condition. Tough to get in those poly bags in high condition. 9.8's 250 to 300, kind of that tough to actually get a 9.8 on some of these as my computer goes to sleep while I'm talking. And yeah, so that's what it did. So it's been pretty steady overall over the last 6 months. And yeah, so a cool book, cool characters. So I'm hoping that they get a little more use because they haven't gotten a ton since the original Milestone stuff. Next, we're going to move into our one DC movie kind of thing, and that is Wonder Woman #7, the first appearance of Barbara Ann Minerva in the modern age, kind of who becomes Cheetah later in this run, and this is obviously part of the follow-up to Wonder Woman 84 had just come out, so this book was still hitting the list. I thought Cheetah was pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. Kind of like the movie. Raw copies back then were going for $50. 9.8s were going for $350. Now it's a $10 to $30 book. 9.8s $150 to $200, which is basically what it was before the jump. So it's kind of back down where it was at. So definitely an I'll be back. Still a solid important character in the Wonder Woman universe, but don't know if we'll ever see her again in the movies. Wonder Woman 84 didn't do quite as well as I think they hoped, but hopefully we'll get some more with Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins doing a little more Wonder Woman. So we'll see. Next we have the Mighty Avengers #13. So this is our first kind of MCU spec, and this is the first appearance of the Secret Warriors team, as well as several members of this were kind of first appearances, very minor MCU or Marvel characters. Back then this jumped to a $10 to $30 book based on rumors that with the Secret Invasion storyline that we would get a Secret Warriors team up. Raw copies are 10 to 25 now. So basically right in that same range as it was back then. So definitely kind of been an I'll be back, a very steady book. Don't know if we'll get this. I know several of the characters that are being introduced currently are characters that are going to be, that were part of this team. So we'll see if they kind of go down this road. And then we also have Mighty Avengers #13. The second print also hit the list. Same reasons, obviously. But this one jumped all the way up to $100 for the second print. Now it's going $30 to $50. So this one turned into a bit of a trap. Not as much. Again, some interest here, but not a ton. And definitely didn't support that $100. Next, our last MCU book of the week. And this was Captain America #1. First appearance of Ricky Barnes, and basically there were some spec and rumors that the girl that played Flag Smasher, the main girl, and I can't remember now what her name was in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, was going to actually be Ricky Barnes, was the character she was going to be. Well, that didn't turn out to be true, so you can imagine this book that was going for $10 to $30 back then is now a $1 to $10 book. There was a recent 9.8 sale for $80, but that was just the one sale. So yeah, this turned into a big trap. This is not the character she was playing. So people just this was spec that missed, and which happens more often than you think. So not all of these come to fruition. So with that, we got 4 books left, and they are all Star Wars related. So first we have Star Wars #10 from 1999, a Dark Horse book. This is the first appearance of a Sharid Het, who later becomes Darth Krayt. This was going for $100. Pretty condition sensitive on this book. Now its raw books are 20 to 70. This is down. I'll be back. This is just part of, people have been specking on basically every kind of Star Wars character. I mean, almost every Star Wars character that they think even possibly could be used has been at least some level of spec, particularly Sith characters. And this is one people kind of jumped on, but really hasn't still sustaining pretty good value at $20 to $70. But yeah, I don't know that we're ever going to see anything with this character. I kind of doubt it. But anyway, next we have Star Wars Insider #199, the PX variant, PX exclusive variant, and this is a High Republic preview, and of course it has High Republic characters on the cover, so that's why this variant is the one that people were going after right before High Republic came out. Raw copies were selling for $100, still selling for $80 to $150, so this has actually crept up a little bit, kind of in the worth it category. Not, it's still, you can still get it around that $100, but it's also selling for a little bit more. So yeah, we'll see. like, I've really enjoyed all the High Republic stuff so far that I've read. So I'm hoping we get more of it. And if we do, then this book potentially will continue to have value. I'm not huge on these kind of magazine preview kind of things, but at least a portion of the community is, and that's why this is sustaining value. 2 books to go. Next, we have Star Wars X-Wing Rogue Squadron number 25. So this is the origin of Baron Fell, but it's also kind of an early Thrawn appearance. I think his first appearance outside of the adaptation of Heir to the Empire. So that's what put this on the list. Raw copies were going for $100 back then, just based on Great Admiral Thrawn spec. Now it's at $10 to $35. Not really a key. He appears in almost every issue, I think he appears in every issue of that Heir to the Empire run, which is 6 issues. Obviously, this is kind of separate from that, but yeah, I'm not sure about this one anyway. But yeah, it definitely turned into a trap, going from $100 down to a $10 to $35 book. 9.8 did sell for $175, but yeah, I don't know. To me, this was always kind of an odd little spec. So last but not least is Dr. Aphra number 3. This is not Darth Vader number 3. This is Dr. Aphra number 3. And basically, this is the first time we get that her first name is revealed in this book, but it's also the first appearance of Magna Tolvan, which is kind of a love interest. So people are specking on this a little bit in case, if they do bring Dr. Aphra to the screen, that we might get this her love interest as well. Back then, raw copies were going for $10. Now $5 to $20, still in that same range, kind of small key range. So this has been pretty steady, kind of worth it. There's only one 9.8 sale. It was for $160. So not a lot there, but the book is still kind of sitting at that, double, triple cover kind of thing. So that's this week's list. Like I said, we had a bunch of covers. We had a bunch of books that were down this week, a little higher percentage than we've had lately. I do feel like maybe I'm imagining it, but I feel like just in watching, the prices are starting to, the 2021 surge is starting to level out and slow down just a little bit. We'll see if I'm right on that, or if I just, imagining that or not as we go forward. But it does seem like things have started to calm a little bit on the crazy comic market. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.